If you want a weapon to freeze your enemies, you've got a few options. You've got the Hailstorm, which is my personal favorite. The Hunger, which is powerful, but the freeze only comes on a single shot, and only after you've met a specific condition. The Judgment, which is fun, if not a bit awkward to use. And you've got the star of this video, the Frostbite. Like most of the weapons, I don't necessarily main, but I've decided to pick up to make a build video for. I've come to appreciate the Frostbite the longer I played around with it. Still can't claim I've gotten complete control over the rhythm reload, but I did pick up a bit of finesse with it, eventually coming to the point where I would only fire a couple of shots before reloading each time so I can get that freezing beam. Then praying I could string together a few before inevitably messing it up. And I mess it up a lot. The game seems to punish you on the fourth perfect reload and beyond, making the window for snagging those perfect reloads more difficult each time. I mean, I get it. If it were too easy to keep those freezing beams out, players would have a battlefield full of crisscross ice wires, trivializing all content in the game. Though, all you really need is one frost beam in the middle of a battlefield to catch several enemies over the course of the encounter. As it stands right now, the Frostbite is a fun weapon to use with a high enough base damage to make it useful outside of just its special effect. But I couldn't help but notice this gun has me more focused on reloading than shooting. The Frostbite is great if you can consistently snag those perfect reloads, but it straight up hurts the soul if you miss them. Damn it, but I've never felt so disappointed with my gunplay when I screw up a streak. And as I said before, the game makes it harder for you to land your reloads after you've actuated the first frost beam. And when you've gotten an icy beam loaded up in the chamber, you might not want to waste it on a weak enemy, or just a few remaining monsters at the end of a horde. That's where the Echo comes into play. The Echo gives you a powerful secondary option when you want to hold onto that freeze beam for more pressing situations, but you can't rely on it too much without the short range bead, or you'll run out of stamina with all the sliding and shooting. I wanted it that way. This is a Frostbite build, not an Echo build. Here's the build. We'll go over the rest in a second. Here's the rosaries. Long range bead so you can keep firing without worrying about stamina. I will say here that the spell recharge bead and light spell charge beads are important. Spells in this build are focused on crowd control, not necessarily damage, for landing easier headshots and getting those reloads where you will be unharassed by enemies. The rest is up to your discretion, though elemental duration is pretty good here, to keep enemies frozen for longer. Back to the loadout. Eye of the Madwoman is amazing with such a high-powered weapon as the Frostbite. You'll notice it popping off a lot, and even if it doesn't kill enemies outright, it will do a good spot of damage. Dynamo Ring gets a heartfelt shout-out. It's super powerful, and I didn't realize before that the shock damage is an AoE explosion. I think it's grown to be my favorite ring in the game. Use Madwoman's Eye and Dynamo Ring's damage combined to straight smite fools. Shockwave and Ice Spear both give you easy headshots and space to charge up those reloads with minimal worry. I used the Monk's Hood Fetish while recording, mostly because I was testing that as well, and I just wanted to try something different to use. It really doesn't matter though. Pick what you want. For your Arcana, the prophecies of Water Element, Lightness, and Spells are all that really matter. Slot what you want after that. For the prophecy of Water Element, Phagophobia, Shattered Soul, and Cryovolcano are super powerful with this weapon. To be honest, you really only need focus on getting Shattered Soul. This specific Arcana is what you see straight eliminating bosses in the footage, dealing a large percentage of their maximum health as damage every time they unfreeze. See that? That's Shattered Soul doing its work. So what would I rate this weapon? It's like a 9.5 if you can consistently land those reloads. But let's be real. In the heat of combat, when you're constantly moving around and shooting and using spells, you're bound to screw it up. So realistically, it's like a 7. 7 points in terms of practicality. And, if you'd like, plus an extra point for what it can do to bosses. But it loses a few points in my eyes for the little reload minigame, it has me playing mid-combat, and for the utter disappointment I feel every time I screw it up. Other than that, it's a strong weapon that's pretty reliable for freezing enemies. And that right there puts it above many other weapons in Witchfire.